Alabama, do you need police, fire, or EMS?
I'm not real sure, ma'am. I just watched the biggest it was a critter, but it smelled real bad. I'm a homeless female. I live right in the middle of the woods, around 151, just north of Claver on 1604 where the light is. This big thing was 75 feet away from me, smells awful, devoured a whole deer carcass, and then took off and, screamed, screeched, and took off across the street. And I know you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I'm dead serious. There was something very big, a lot bigger than me, out here. So, it's probably somebody you should know. I really don't know what you can do about it.
How long ago did this happen?
I won't, immediately. I don't know, it's animal control. I mean, it's...
Okay, again, now tell me, where was it? This is at 151 in Calabria?
Okay, yeah, the light at 151, just up from Calabria on 1604, where 1604 split.
So here we are on location of the infamous San Antonio Sasquatch sighting by a homeless couple, and I am here with cryptozoologist Ken Gerhard. And Ken, I wanted to be in the spot, or as close to the spot as this alleged sighting happened. So are we here? Is this the place?
Well, unfortunately, Taylor, we can't ever say 100% because listening to the 911 call that was placed, there were some clues in there, but she never gave an exact location where she saw this thing. But the day after the sighting, I was actually here investigating, trying to follow up.
Okay.
And I did find what I'm pretty sure was their campsite of this homeless couple. There was a burned out fire ring. There were some bags of food that were still good that they had just seemingly abandoned and just taken off out of here. And it seemed like it was an obvious campsite. So, the story is that they were out here camping in this general area. They saw this thing pick up a dead deer, carry it off, screeching, screaming, breaking brush, and heading towards the water tower, which it's kind of obscured, but the water tower is right behind us.
Right back
here.
up, yeah.
And we have a road right here in front of us, which presumably if there was a dead deer, maybe it was roadkill. So
absolutely.
As best as we can tell, this is the precise location where they saw this strange creature.
Wow. Well, it's so cool to just be in a location where, maybe something as extraordinary as a Sasquatch sighting actually happened. Yeah. And the thing is that we have the 911 call. We have the audio, and you can hear in their voices that, they are confused, scared, and almost reluctant to report this story, but you can feel that they really wanted to. They feel like they had to, an obligation, that they saw something so terrifying that they were almost worried for public safety. Let's call 911. And how do you interpret that 911 call?
Well, the first time I heard it, which was, again, years ago, I think it was posted on YouTube probably within days after the sighting. The 911 call may have gotten into the news just because whenever anything's reported to the police, obviously the news dispatches pick up on it.
Yeah.
So there's this 911 call. I remember the first time I heard it, I kind of had the same feeling as you. It's like, wow, this lady sounds really sincere. She's kind of scared. She sounds kind of sober, and that's in the police report. As far as the dispatcher could tell, she sounds lucid.
That was my next question, actually. Was she sober? Was she in a clear state of mind? You have to ask that.
We'll never know for sure, but we do also have the corroboration of her husband, who joins in about halfway through the call in the background, and some of it's mumbling, so you can't hear exactly what he's saying, but he gets his lines in, and he sounds pretty scared. I mean, they both sound pretty frightened, and they're kind of have this unison of, of nervousness and this anxiety going as they're like, get someone out here. So
they said they were armed with a machete, and her husband was 6'3", and this thing still scared him. and just imagine it eating a deer carcass. Like you look out your tent and you see a creature that's bigger than her husband, bigger than 6'3", covered in hair. Just that alone would be scary.
They said it smelled bad.
And it smelled
that
bad.
That adds another level of fear when
but
something smells
just
bad.
Devouring a freaking deer carcass. Like
it's covered in fur. It's big.
It's a horror
It smells
movie.
bad. But they also, one of the things that they said repeatedly was it's on 2 feet.
Yeah.
And the lady, Jennifer, the lady that first called in and said, I know this is going to sound, y'all are going to think I'm crazy. This thing is on 2 feet.
Yes.
And so that's like the immediate ding, 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 ding. Even though the name Bigfoot or Sasquatch is never uttered.
Not at all. She didn't want to. She was afraid to say it. You could say it. She's like, all she would say is that it was on 2 feet. And her husband said the same thing. And because the first thing you think, oh, she saw a bear, but I mean, they're not really around here, but or some sort of animal. But when it is bipedal,
yeah,
that takes this to a whole new level.
That eliminates pretty much everything known that's endemic to North America. There are no 2-footed, big, giant, hairy, bad-smelling things that we know of.
No.
So.
But they're out there.
Yeah.
I want to take this time to say thank you for watching That Bigfoot Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. And click that bell to get notifications on future content. Now, back to the show.
It is a very large, hairy animal of some kind.
Now, was it standing on 2 or 4?
Well, if I told you it was standing on 2 legs, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm serious. It ran off at breaking limbs and trees. And it kind of screeched, howled, and a very creepy, scary thing. Because, like I said, I live in a tent. We're in the woods. So.
Okay, and do you see signs of a dead deer, blood, or whatever?
Actually, ma'am, I'm not gonna go check it out right at the moment. Is that okay? I don't own anything but a machete and a hatchet, so I'm kind of freaked out. I just thought, like I said, I thought somebody should know there's a very large something big enough to eat a deer and as a predator.
Are you with someone there?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they see it too?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so what I have here is a copy of the actual police report of the incident that we're talking about here, which is pretty cool. This is a public record now as a police report. And what it says, a complainant named Jennifer requested an officer to come patrol the area. This is the dispatcher report or police report of the 911 call. Complainant and husband live in a tent in a wooded area at the location. She says that she just saw what appears to be a 6'3" or larger figure covered with fur, and it has a very foul odor. It ran toward the water tower past 1604, right over here. When the figure ran away, it broke and cracked branches and screeched and howled. And according to the police report, the complainant did not sound intoxicated and sound scared. The complainant requested the officer to go by the location and either sound his siren or she would meet the officer at the location. And then the follow-up is here, the disposition. The responding officer wrote that he arrived, he was unable to locate the complainant, and he found no evidence for the incident that it took place. So, pretty notable that we have this document of that particular encounter.
Had you ever seen or heard anything like this before?
No, ma'am. No, I've lived in the woods for a while.
I've lived in the woods for 6 years. I'm going to tell you right now, I've lived in the woods for 6 years. I swear to God, I've never seen nothing like this. This son of a bitch was bigger than me.
And it had a very odd smell.
I'm 6'3". I'm 6'3". It's bigger than me.
So, yeah. It's bigger than 6'3". Yeah. It's very large.
So here we are in San Antonio, Texas, which isn't a place that I necessarily think you'd see a Bigfoot. But Ken, what do you think? Is this a good location for something like this to survive?
Well, it seems improbable because you're basically on the fringe of a major city. But you do have, as you can see, some like little wooden tracts around us and little fingers of wilderness that go off into the western part and into the wilderness out there. Speculatively, we could say it was like some kind of transient individual that just got off course and was here chasing deer. Who knows?
So as you can see behind me, we have the highway and you can see a little bit of Mother Nature. So this is a very interesting clash of the worlds and very interesting place for a Sasquatch sighting to happen.
I only know one other Bigfoot sighting, alleged Bigfoot sighting near here, Taylor.
Okay, what is it?
That was just a few miles north of here at 1604 in Bandera, and this was investigated by the BFRO back in 2006. A couple claim they saw Bigfoot peeking out from behind a tree, but other than that, I've never heard of any other.
So that was just a few years before the homeless couple sighting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't know, that builds this case even more. That it wasn't just this isolated incident. People were seeing this in this area for years. So yeah, I've lived here like all my life and thought that I was living in a Bigfoot-less area, but now I'm so excited that they're around.
Well, Taylor, there's another chapter to this story, which is actually kind of important in the field of Bigfoot for unfortunate reasons, because it involves a notorious hoax that was staged at this location in 2012.
Oh.
There's a guy named Rick Dyer that claimed that he shot a Bigfoot. He was out here camping right across the freeway behind the Home Depot in the woods over there. He was camping, investigating the 911 incident, and that he saw this Bigfoot and he shot it. And then ultimately he claimed that he had this thing and he named it Hank, and he took it around and he was charging people to take a look at this dead Bigfoot that he had shot. And there was actually a documentary, to my understanding, a British filmmaker that made about this whole situation. But ultimately it was revealed to be a hoax, of course, which we all in the field pretty much knew.
Well, right now, the Bigfoot community is on fire with claims from a controversial man who says he shot and killed a Bigfoot right here in San Antonio.
I'm going to go down in history as the best Bigfoot tracker in the world.
Dyer claims he lured the Bigfoot into a homeless camp like this one in the woods near Loop 1604 and 151. There had been numerous sightings of the creature here.
Scared the hell out of me, I guarantee you.
Tests have also been performed to prove it's real. While many people believe this is just another hoax, Dyer says he'll be vindicated when the film is released this spring.
So I'm pretty convinced that the homeless couple saw something, and that it wasn't a hoax, but their sighting did go on to inspire a hoax. So,
for sure.
And that's just how confusing and messy the world of cryptozoology is that you have fiction and nonfiction kind of blending together in certain aspects and ruining evidence that it could possibly lead to discoveries, setting us back. Like, yeah, that hoax has officially put a dark cloud over San Antonio Bigfoot sightings, in my opinion. Like, who's gonna trust any of us now? Oh man, but it's so cool to be here, to think that, like, maybe right on this dirt, this soil right here, that something unknown, something mysterious is, stood where I'm standing in such a location as this. This isn't just like a San Antonio urban legend. This was something that had at least enough backing for the news, which that doesn't mean much.
Right along this area off 151 and 1604 where police got the call. Now when they came out here, they looked around and didn't find anything. The caller told police they spotted a large and tall hairy creature dragging a deer carcass into the woods.
Well, there have also been a handful of sightings of the creature near Lackland Air Force Base and in other wooded areas near Highway 151 several years back.
My husband's a very large, nothing's ever scared him, ever. And,
Saw it too.
we both saw it, so.
What's good? You sent some
No type of clothing or...
No, it was like the size of a grizzly bear. Imagine that.
one of those steroids with 2 feet.
So,
1604, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, theoretically, could Bigfoot be in and around San Antonio? You know, maybe if we accept that there are transient individuals that will basically follow the food and maybe they just wander into our backyard by accident once in a while. Those accounts are rare, and it's all speculation, but it's not impossible.
In between the lines,
Something happened.
the truth is there.
Something
somewhere.
happened here.
It is out there somewhere, and maybe it's here in this filthy dump site. maybe it's right here. I sure hope it is, because we're here, and we're That Bigfoot Show. Yeah, that one. So Ken, thanks for joining us. Always good to see you.
Always
good to talk
always a
to
pleasure, brother.
Thanks so
Anytime.
much. And everybody out there, keep your eyes open. And if you've seen anything, if you've heard anything, comment your comments in the comments, and we'd love to hear from you. Thanks, everybody.